to the Friday show here at 40 Kennels. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Jen. Today we have an important topic to talk about. I think a lot of people can struggle with separation anxiety in your puppy and or adult dog. Today we're going to specifically talk about what you can do to prevent separation anxiety when you bring home a puppy at 8 weeks old, because there's a lot of things that we can do to ensure we don't deal with separation anxiety. So that's going to be the topic for today. And then if you have any questions, of course, you can drop them here and I can answer questions as well. So let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Love to see you guys all tuning in. Where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. It is March already. Can you believe it? Like, this year for me is going by so fast. Crazy. March 4th already, 2022. Goodness sakes. I mean, I think in general time always goes by fast, really. Jesse's from Massachusetts, Katie, Ohio, Dawn, Tennessee, Central Florida from Crown Rock Doodles. I have to say, that name catches me just a little bit because I love Crown Royal, so I think of Crown on the Rocks when I see Crown Rock Doodles. I'm sure you did not name your business after Crown Royal. I can't help it. Regan from Canada, Heather from Kentucky, Sylvia from Colorado, Christine from California, of course, Jen from Texas. Look at everybody's all from all over the place. I love it. All right, here we go. And if you have any questions about separation anxiety as well, again, the focus will really be on bringing puppies home and how can we prevent separation anxiety from becoming a problem. If you have an established dog already, or you bring in an older dog and they come with separation anxiety, that can look very, very different from preventing separation anxiety. So again, we're going to talk about preventing separation anxiety when you bring home a puppy. Shannon from Canada. Oh my gosh, it's super cold up there still? Probably, yes. I was born and raised in Montana, so very right on the border, of course, of Canada. Let me tell you a story first. Let me just admit to, I don't even know, it's kind of a Canadian accent. I grew up in a really small town in Montana, fairly close to the Canadian border. And so when I moved and then I went to college in Montana too. So this was never even realized, my little bit of accent or vernacular, whatever, until I came to Las Vegas. And here I am, student teaching in front of these students, and I know, the first time I said, I don't know, brought up the word flag, bag, right? We say bag and flag and dragon, not dragon. So we don't put the long A on a lot of our words. So I know when, teaching English, or somehow the word, bag gets brought up, and my kids are like, bag? I was Byrne at the time, my maiden name, Miss Byrne, what are you saying? Bag and flag. They're like, it's flag. I'm like, okay, I don't say flag. I say flag and bag and dragon, and I know there's more, but I really had gotten self-conscious about it because I thought, am I dumb? Was it being raised in a fairly redneck, uneducated town? What I had found out, though, even through my love of language, and I was a major in English first, and then your secondary is in education when you become a secondary English teacher. And so I loved studying about language. I loved studying about how much alive it is and how words can come and go. And the English language is incredibly fascinating because we take words from all other different cultures and languages and make them our own. And that's why it is one of the most difficult languages to learn. And then we have idioms and things like that people secondary language learners don't understand. Like, I'm hungry, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, or that's a piece of cake. Like, someone coming in trying to learn our language, don't, like, that's another hurdle. The other thing is because we do take so many words from other countries and other languages, there's not one rule that always applies. There's always exceptions. So it's incredibly difficult language to learn. But through that, though, then, like, because I had to kind of step back, I felt like uh, that's why our pronunciation and spelling rules in English don't always apply. Yeah, they don't always apply. There's never one hard, fast rule, right? That even I before E except after C doesn't always work. And then language evolves and changes, something like the Oxford comma, where you used to have a comma before and or, like any of our conjunctions, and but, nor, for, yet, or so. I hope I got them all in there. But you used to have to put your comma before it, the Oxford comma, and now more recently, like, you don't need that comma anymore. And I struggle with that too. It's like, I don't need that comma anymore, but it still seems like that's what people think should be there. So the language is constantly evolving, which I love. I love to study language. You'll always use the Oxford comma. I know, Heather, I don't anymore. And simple things like the word towards and like, let me think of the towards. There's so much love towards dogs, right? We shouldn't put the S on that. Like, in the English language, we shouldn't. That's British or European, right? So even once you start to know a lot of these rules and how much we merge things. Anyway, so here's on my quest. Like, I'm kind of being made fun of by students by the way I say bag and flag. Like, what? Like, is this a reflection of intelligence? And what I had found out was, shit, all of us, Minnesota, Canada, Montana, this is the way we talk. This is the way almost all of us say these words, and just different slang and things like, do you call it soda or pop? I mean, we grew up, it was pop. Like, you go to get Dr. Pepper, it's a pop, right? And so all of those fun things, and it came down to, like, I think it's a part of growing up as well and accepting certain things about you and just being at peace with that. Like, that's my story. Like, when I was younger, I was very self-conscious about the way I'd say that. And a lot of it because of the reaction I got when I moved down to Nevada from Montana. And now I just love when I meet people from Minnesota or from Montana or from Canada, because for the most part, we say a lot of the words the same that nobody else understands. Like, it's just, call it an accent. I don't know, that, whatever. Like, I will say it's not a reflection of my intelligence. I felt that way for a long time. It's not at all. It's just the way it is. Heather, do you say worsh for wash? Nope, I say wash. Yeah, there's not that many. Like, I'm not a huge Minnesota accent or Canadian accent. I think Montana does shift a little way away from that more, from what I've seen and studied in Minnesota and Canada. I think they're very, very similar. And I could be wrong. My Canadians here, let me know. Or if you're from Minnesota, let me know. There's only a few things that we still somehow have leaked through the borders and our societies connecting in a way that, of course, isn't farther down south, right? The influence of just where the land is and the people that have access to that land, like, it's all incredibly fascinating to me. All right, there's my story of the day about flag and bag. So if I ever have to say bag or flag, I'm really talking about a bag or a flag. I don't hear an accent, so I say you are on point. LOA, right, Shannon? Like, I don't think I do. I have the lazy pronunciation of some of those long A words, long vowel A words that we just all do. Anybody from that area in Montana say those words the same way. So if you watch hockey, you'll pick up on the Canadian dialect by listening to your announcers about and house and strange to me. About about and house. Yeah, love. All right, Canadian accent, eh? Right? I don't do that either. Like I know some people, even in Minnesota, have the a, the end every sentence with a. Like, yeah, don't you think, eh? All right, let's talk about preventing separation anxiety in our puppies. Really an important topic. All right, here's I know, eh? Right? Like, you guys crack me up. I'm glad I can just come on here and have uh, have some fun. I forget I can put your comments on my screen. There you go. I know, eh? That's right. Okay, separation anxiety. Number one, I think one of the most important things you can do for your puppy to prevent separation anxiety is crate training. We're teaching our puppies some self-control. We're teaching our puppies they can be alone. We're teaching our puppies this is a safe place for them to learn how to self-soothe and be okay. If you allow your puppy to be with you 24/7, your risk of separation anxiety is way higher. Now, there are certain breeds that are more predisposed to separation anxiety, but every dog, every puppy can become anxious when you leave. They all can have separation anxiety. So, breed aside, let's just talk about the way in which we manage them when they come home to nip it in the butt before it becomes a problem. First of all, every puppy that leaves the breeder, they will have a little bit of anxiety because they've been with their litter mates since they've been born. They've never really been alone. They've had their mom, their litter mates, the breeder, all of their humans, and now they have to adjust to being left alone, like alone. Like, I love Renee Zellweger. That always pops in my mind when I think about being alone. So they have to go through that. So there's important things that we can do to ensure that it doesn't become a problem, that transition is normal, and you help them work through it in proper ways. And one way is not by staying with them all of the time. I've had clients say, I'm going to take the first 2 weeks off and stay home with my puppy. And I say, you don't really need to do that. Number one, it's really not the best thing to do. But if you do, please make sure you leave your puppy every day. Like, leave your puppy every day. Even within the first 3 days, you should have at least left your puppy, even if it's for an hour, even if it's for 30 minutes. Like, put them in their kennel and leave and come back. The way in which you put them in their kennel also has an influence on will they feel anxious about being in their kennel. They will if you portray that there's something wrong with that kennel. And you're all like, well, I don't. I know there's nothing wrong with the kennel. Why would I think that? Because you're feeling that. You're not feeling it about the kennel, but you're feeling bad about putting them in the kennel and leaving them, aren't you? We are. I'm so sorry. Even if you don't say anything, this is what you're feeling. I'm so sorry. I got to put you in. Jeanette said, I have to. I don't want to. I don't want to leave you. I'm so excited I have you. You're my new puppy, right? Like, we have that desire. You need to change that thought because the puppy feels that, but they're wondering what the shit is wrong with the kennel. Okay, now you're an unreliable human. You're literally telling them there's something wrong with the kennel by the way in which you put them in, by the way in which you're feeling about it, and you may even be saying that to them, and you still put them in there. Like, how can they trust you now? You're giving mixed signals. We don't like people that say one thing and do another. Neither do dogs. Okay? So you have to be matter of fact about it. In the kennel, I'll be back. See you later. When you come back now, you can't come back with a bunch of overexcitement. Oh my gosh, I'm home, and open up the kennel and start cuddling and loving. Now the puppy's really confused. You put me in here and it was bad, and now you're happy. You're creating separation anxiety. You're creating that because you're really, really unreliable. So put them in, matter of fact, and leave. When you come back, no touch, no talk, no eye contact. Open the kennel door. Have them go outside. You can give that direction outside, because we're teaching them what that means. Go potty, good boy, good girl, back inside, let them play. But don't have any kind of emotion about coming back, because then they anticipate that and it could make them anxious, right? Like, mom's upset, mom comes back overexcited, this is really confusing, it's making me anxious. No, matter of fact. And then vary how long you leave them right away. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, up to 4 hours you can leave them. Technically, an 8-week-old puppy can hold their bladder for 4 hours as long as they've gone potty prior to going in, they've exercised, they played. That's another thing. Set them up for success going into the kennel. Don't not exercise them or let them out to go potty. Like, I always had to, you had to plan. Okay, I'm going to go at 1 o'clock. I'm going to leave at 1 o'clock today to go get groceries. I'll be gone for a little over an hour, right? Well, leading up to that, I'm going to make sure all the puppy's needs have been met, right? There's been rules, boundaries, and limitations. We've talked about this, the needs of a puppy in order. There's been mental and physical exercise. And third is love and affection. And then when I put them in the kennel, they're tired, their needs have been met, and then I'm going to give them something they only get in the kennel. So it's very positive, and they look forward to that quiet time. So I'm setting them up to success, leading up to being in the kennel, and then giving them something that is super safe, like a Kong with a little bit of peanut butter, something kind of busy, maybe a raw bone if you feel comfortable with that. Something that they only get, and you can rotate what it is so they become excited, like, oh, put me in my kennel. I can't wait to see what mom's going to give me. Like, this is my quiet time. They're ready for a nap because you've set them up for success, and they'll chew for a little bit or have some busy work like a Kong and go to sleep. And then puppies will sleep 4 to 5 hours. And so that's the goal. But if they literally just wake up and you don't really do anything with them and they try to put them back in the kennel for hours upon hours, of course, they're going to become very frustrated and the kennel is going to become a very negative thing. So it's your job to set it up to be positive. And then you're teaching them this life skill. Their kennel's a good place to be. The kennel is safe. They can trust you, you're reliable. Anytime you put them in, you will come back and let them out, and there's no anxiety about it. In fact, they become to enjoy it. I don't know how often you could just leave the kennel door open and my dogs will just go in and sleep. Like, they want to be in there. That's their safe place. Don't let kids crawl into the kennel. Don't let kids go and take something away from them in the kennel. That literally should be their safest place ever. Now, if you travel or go visit family, you know how amazing it is to just bring their kennel, and you can put them in their kennel when you go out for the day, sightseeing, go to the zoo, spend time with family, go eat, come home. Everything's fine, even though it's a new place, because you've set that up. Do you see, just crate training correctly can make a world of difference with separation anxiety. All right. And then we talked about leaving and coming back, and varying that and making sure there's no emotion to it, please. Again, you put them in matter-of-factly, and then when you come back, you're very matter-of-fact. There's not overexcitement. The thing is, you come in, be like, I told you Mama was going to come back, and you come in rescuing them from the kennel. And you're screwing everything up. So stop it. Stop treating them like they're human. Again, by devaluing the power of a dog, their brain, their ability, we're doing them such a disjustice. We don't want them to be human. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so incredible and amazing. They don't live in the past. They don't hold grudges. They won't intentionally betray you or judge you or leave you, or all of those things we love about our dogs, but yet then we treat them like a human. It's really disrespectful if you think about it. Like, we are diminishing their power that they already naturally have by treating them like a human. All right. Then also we talked about the special high value, safe items in a kennel. You wouldn't put a bully stick or a stuffy, especially if they tore it up and ate stuff. It has to be really safe, and then rotate those again so it's super, super positive when they go back into their kennel. Good morning, Rhoda. Good morning, Bernice. Hello, I love you guys. And Susan's from Indiana. Oh my gosh. The number 4 was, of course, meet their needs in order. So if all of their needs are being met, the chance of having anxiety is going to be far less. They feel safe, they feel respected, they're fulfilled. You've been giving them a purpose, even if it's just nothing in life is for free. You have to sit and wait for your food. You have to sit and wait for me to put the leash on. You earn all of your kibble, even if it's focusing and sitting and putting your focus on me. All of those little tiny things all of the time, by continuing to teach and guide by expectation, makes a huge, huge difference. Nothing in their life should be free. They should have to earn anything. And you might think, well, that's not fair. That's mean. No, because you're giving them a purpose. You're continuing to show them they can believe in themselves, and you're continuing to show them that accomplishing something is good. And especially for our dogs too, golden doodles and a lot of working lines, they need to work. They feel satisfaction by working and accomplishing something. So when you never ask anything of them and they just get everything for free for doing nothing, they become ornery and out of control. They're frustrated. They're spoiled brats, literally, just like little kids can be, just like adults can be. Like, you have to work and earn things, like giving a teenager their car for free, their first car, or paying for their college. I know, I may upset some of you here, but I just tell it the way it is, at least from my perspective, my life experience. You give their first car for free, they don't take care of it or value it like they would if they would have at least paid for part of it or earned it, right? Same thing for college. I'm not saying you can't pay for their college, but that if they didn't have to earn any of that or have expectations, you will keep your grades to this, or I'll stop paying, or I'll pay for college, but you have to pay your dorms and your books. However, if they didn't earn part of it, they don't value it like they would have if they put some energy and time into college. Same thing for a dog. If they don't have to put any energy or time or effort into anything, they don't respect and value you. You just become a pushover, and they'll take what they want when they want, and they're not happy. So, that's my big philosophy is everything has to be earned, especially in that first year or two, to establish that, and they need it. They really do. They'll thrive in that kind of environment. All right. And lastly, so we've got 5 things to help prevent our puppies from getting separation anxiety is be a reliable, fair, and consistent leader. Right? And that really just kind of covers everything we talked about, but it's also an everyday of working with your puppy, even within a family. If one family member allows them on the couch and one doesn't, that's very confusing and unfair for a puppy. One minute they're getting rewarded for being on the couch, laying on your lap and being petted, and then the next human scolds them and pulls them off the couch. Like, just look at it from their point of view. You can't do that. So like, if you and your spouse or partner or children cannot work together, at least compromise and agree on, for right now, the dog will not be allowed on the couch. Maybe when they get older, they will have earned the right to be on the couch, but only with permission. We'll train, come on up or get off, and they'll do both. Then you shouldn't get a dog yet. I think it's incredibly important that you talk as a family and make sure everybody has the same standards, and everybody's going to use the same words. One person's not going to say off and the other one down when they really mean down. Off should be get off of something. If you can't address all of that and get that clear and put it on the fridge and make sure everybody's being consistent and fair and reliable, you're only going to cause more frustration. And more frustration what a puppy has with their leader, with the alpha, so to speak, of their pack, the more anxiety they're going to have. That is one concern when placing a puppy that is extremely tenderhearted, appears to already have a little bit of anxiety, unsureness, confidence, nerve strength, and then you place them in a home with someone that has severe anxiety. Now both of you just have anxiety. Now the puppy is just going to be an anxious ball. A lot of that is caused by the human. So be reasonable enough that if you do have a lot of anxiety and you know that is a problem, just make sure the match is correct to honor the puppy as well. Make sure that the puppy is confident, not tender-hearted, has good nerve strength, and that will end up actually helping you, because when you feel like you can't get out of the house, that puppy will be like, get your butt up out of bed and take me on a walk. A more submissive, tender-hearted, sensitive puppy is just gonna be like, I'll just lay in bed with you too. I know I have, I know it's kind of off topic, but we do get clients that come in that really feel like they need like an ESA dog, an emotional support dog. There's no special training or anything with an ESA dog. In fact, really, at some level, all of our dogs are ESA dogs. Right? That's why we love them, because there is just such a connection with them that makes all of us better by owning a dog, and happier by owning a dog. So at some extent, all these dogs are all of our ESAs. Some need them for more extreme reasons, like I'm just using severe anxiety as an issue. They're struggling to go out in public, they're struggling to get out of bed, they're struggling to even leave the house anymore because their anxiety is so bad. And the problem is they come in and they gravitate toward the puppies that are most like them, right? Because they just feel like that puppy will just love me, and they will. But the problem is, and I won't match those puppies with those clients, and I have to really explain. The problem is, if I match this puppy with you, I'm not helping you, and you came to me for help with your anxiety, and I'm not honoring my puppy's voice in this placement, because this is not the kind of owner that they need to thrive either. So one of two things, like, don't pick any puppy, or you need to trust me and you need to pick a puppy that you're not naturally drawn toward right now, knowing that the puppy will be happier with you. They're not going to be as influenced by your anxiety. And two, that's what's really going to help you overcome some of your anxious issues in trying to move forward in your life and have a healthier, happier lifestyle. So, all right, there we go. Let me move my thing over. I have a little, look at me go. I got a little special thing here. So we're going to just review again, preventing separation anxiety in your puppy so it doesn't become a problem. Crate training. 2, leave them and come back. Please don't take 2 weeks off and stay home with them 24/7. This is why our COVID puppies are a mess for the most part. Most people got them to help with the loneliness and help get them through COVID and losing their job or not being able to work. A lot of people were struggling, so they got a puppy, and now all these puppies are struggling. Like, we did not, as a whole, set them up for success. We never left them. They were responsible for our human emotions and feelings. We weren't the most reliable and fair and consistent human because we were dealing with so much. It's really, for a lot of dogs, been a shit show, COVID has. Everybody was panic puppy buying anything from anybody, and people that weren't even breeders start breeding. And now we have an influx of dogs out there now. We have a shortage of veterinarians because they weren't producing more veterinarians during this time. We have a shortage of trainers because we weren't producing more trainers during this time. We have a shortage of groomers because we weren't producing more groomers during this time either. But you can see how this wasn't being done during COVID because the focus was so off point for so many that we have a lot of separation anxiety now for our dogs, as well as dogs that didn't have separation anxiety. You didn't buy them during COVID, but then they got used to you being home for a year straight. You never left. You really relied on your dog for emotional strength, and then you just, boom, you leave, you're back at work. And now they're struggling. And so even if there's life changes, moving, big changes in your life can also start to create anxiety in dogs that wasn't there before. So please make sure, no matter what that is, you can still see that if we just follow these 5 things, regardless of what's going on with our life, with an adult dog that doesn't have anxiety or bringing in a puppy, this can prevent anxiety in both. Special high value busy item while in the kennel, only when they're in a kennel, and have a couple different things they only get in their kennel, and they start to look forward to that. Meet their needs in order. Number 1, rules, boundaries, and limitations. Number 2, mental and physical exercise. Number 3, love and affection after the other things have been met, and then set them up for success to go into their kennel. And the number 5, be a reliable, fair, and consistent human in all aspects of raising this puppy. All right, good. See, it's not so difficult. There's no reason why so many of our dogs should have separation anxiety, because look, I've given you the tools now. So if you've got a puppy now or you're getting one in the future, regardless of who you're getting it from, make sure you implement these steps. Write them down, go back and watch this video, put it on the fridge, and it's just a solid reminder to ensure that you're managing and handling your dog every day, because we all want a happy, well-balanced, neutral dog. And all dogs deserve to be happy and well-balanced and neutral. Too often we make excuses. We make a lot of excuses for rescue dogs. Well, they've been abused, or they've been this, or they've been that. And the reality is most haven't been abused, even though they're hand shy or have fears. It's that they just weren't handled correctly. And yes, we could say that's abuse, right? But it was potentially well-intentioned human. The match wasn't great. The 3 things that get dogs surrendered the most are dogs that are super assertive, 1, 2, high energy, and 3, lack of confidence. So fearful dogs. So if you go through the shelter or the pound, most of those dogs, that's one of their issues right away. And then of course there's dogs that don't have those issues, but for the most part, you walk through a shelter and that's what you see: high assertive, high energy. Just people couldn't manage or handle them, and so the match was improper. Yeah. Gwen from Henderson. Jennifer, hello from New Hampshire. Thank you so much. Getting a puppy next weekend. Perfect timing. Yes, yes, yes. Please make sure you do these and prevent separation anxiety for the life of your dog. They truly deserve to not. Those of us humans that deal with anxiety, we would do anything not to have to deal with anxiety. So let's set our puppies up for success so it's something that they never ever have to deal with. Absolutely. All right, any questions you have for me this Friday? Bring it on, bring it on. Or if we're good, that's fine too. We can start our Friday. Crates keep the puppies safe while you're out too. Oh yes, that's another whole issue. If you're having a dog like chewing up your stuff or whatever, they may need to go back into the crate. A lot of people will ask, well, what age can I stop using the crate? Well, that's a loaded question, number 1. Every dog is different. So some dogs will probably always have to be in a crate. They just don't have the self-control. So if they're doing dangerous things or chewing up things, which is still dangerous, or getting into the trash or acting ridiculous in the house for whatever reason, get them back in the crate. I am a firm believer that every dog should be crate trained, because there's always life experiences or life events that if they would have just been crate trained could have made a world of difference. And separation anxiety is one of those things. They should be okay in a kennel in a different room with you walking around the house, and that could be part of kennel training. Like, you have to be okay in the kennel. Whenever I say you have to be in the kennel, and it is okay, and I will come back and get you when you can come out. If you have a puppy and you have a birthday party over at your house and you're not able to manage and guide correct emotional responses and behavior during the birthday party because you're hosting and it's your child and you have other things, but now the puppy's chasing the kids and barking and nipping at them, and now we're just allowing them to be naughty, and then we're going to have to fix it later. Why don't you just put them in a kennel, right? Just let them know, like, the world doesn't revolve around you. You can't be a part of everything, especially if I haven't been able to train and work with you enough to appropriately attend an event in our house with a bunch of kids running around and screaming. Most puppies can't. They just can't. That's too much overexcitement. They get too over aroused, and then they do things they shouldn't be doing, like running and chasing and nipping and biting and barking. So don't be afraid to be like, I can't do the proper training right now, and I cannot watch you, and it's not worth making things worse or setting you up to fail. So we're just going to have some kennel time for the next couple hours during this party. Shannon, we have one dog who gets anxiety when not with the other dogs. We are trying to keep her separated from time to time so she gets used to it while she's whelping and having puppies. Any advice? Yeah, that's a tough thing, and I know it's a big issue too when people take home 2 litter mates at the same time or buy puppies close together. And I talk to my clients about that, and I let them know they have to do a lot of stuff separately, even kennel training. I know it's easier for you just to put them in the same kennel. I know it's easier for you to walk them at the same time, to train with them at the same time, to take the groomer at the same time. But it's really important for the health of each dog to do things separately as well, because they get this unhealthy bond that then when they're not together, guess what? They have separation anxiety from each other. So it's just like with you. Follow these things, have some separation, take one for a walk while one's in the kennel, and get them feeling okay when they're not with their litter mate or other dog that you bought, especially if they're both young and they've been together for a long time. So I know mine will still just get a little antsy if I just take one and not the other, but it's not a complete meltdown. They're fine after they realize, okay, mom's really not going to take me. It's always that initial, like, am I going? Should I be? Like, they think they should be going because they do so much together, and they're 10 and 11, right? And so there's always that kind of initial, like, it's almost anticipation because they think they get to go too and they get excited. And then when they realize, oh no, mom left, then they settle down. And that's a beautiful gift I have given them by managing things that way from the very beginning. Sometimes only you go. Well, I still do sometimes different grooming appointments for them, and they're 10 and 11. So it's constantly on my mind to ensure that they can be okay without each other, because at some point, unfortunately, one will die before the other, and they will be separated for good. And I don't want it to be so devastating that then I lose the other one quickly after. And it still might, like, I understand that's real life, but I also know I have worked really hard to ensure that they both are comfortable in their own space, in their own skin, alone, just like we need to have as humans as well. So yeah, the other thing about your question too was separation anxiety when your female is whelping. I would start, and we just had this class too the other day with breeders, and this got brought up, and I told them the most difficult whelping situation can be with your pet dog that's been following you around the house for years, and then all of a sudden you say you have to stay in this room, and you've never done that. Do you see how unfair that is too, and how confusing that is? Because you're literally telling your dog to pick between her puppies and you, when it's always been you, and now you're shutting her behind this door with her puppies, and she has that instinct, but now she becomes what? Anxious. It's like, but I'm supposed to be with you. That's been my job. That's been my role. That's where I feel safe. And now I can't follow you around. So the best advice I could give, if you're raising dogs in your home under your feet, it's so incorporated in your life, you have to start this immediately. Wherever your whelping room is, that's where their kennel should be, honestly. That's where they should stay the night. That's where they should go when you're not home. And setting up that foundation early on. I know it's hard. It's hard for us because we want our dogs with us all the time, but then don't ask her to be a mom and have her whelp either. Like, you can't have it both ways. So as soon as you can, you need to start incorporating that structure. Even, if you have several breeding females, have the kennels all in separate places, so they even start knowing at nighttime they're not together, even if they're still together if their kennels are next to each other, right? And so just doing your best to show that we're not always together, but you are okay And it can be very difficult for our dogs that we live with and then raise our puppies in our house. If you have like kind of like fencing that the mom will be in, because it can be very dangerous to have two females. I don't know if y'all know this or not, us breeders do, but another female can and will and has so many times came into the whelping room because they had access, and they killed all of the puppies of the other mom dog, even though it's an amazing female, even though they've been raised together. Like, it's just a weird instinctual thing they do, and we can't blame them for it, but it does happen. So we've used fencing and kept things separate fairly early on when I heard about this and saw how females would change the minute they had puppies, and how the other females could change as well. Like, I just haven't messed with it. Although I will say there's been two moms I've had that could whelp side by side and could go in and out of the whelping box, and that's my Hannah and Holly. But those have literally been my personal dogs. We are a very healthy pack. They're both very respectful of each other, and that was always really, really monitored until I knew. And they had all of their litters at the same time together. And it's funny, like Hannah especially, the first 3 days, she'd like give Holly the lip if Holly would come by, and Holly's so polite, okay. And then after like 3 days, that initial 3 days after having your puppies, they'd be like, I don't know, do you want to nurse them? Do I have to nurse them? Will you clean them off? No, you clean them off. And they would many times cross over and help. It was just a beautiful thing to witness, but that is not very often, and I would never ever recommend that to another breeder to try, unless you feel so confident and you are so bonded with these females and the trust is so flipping high, and you know them so well. Like, there's a lot of factors, because unfortunately hormones and instincts are at play, and that overrides everything. Okay, what do you recommend for barking in the kennel whenever the human walks out of the room? So you can do a few things. Of course, the most least evasive for people that just have a hard time really standing their ground and letting a puppy knock it off is just ignoring. And then just ensuring that that puppy's never let out of the kennel when they're barking or crying. Because then you're just teaching them, oh, I know where mom's threshold is. I get to 2 hours and mom lets me out. Do you see how you're training that? Or mom's threshold is 15 minutes and she can't handle it anymore. She lets me out. So now you're literally training that. You're rewarding it. And then they just know how long they have to do it until you break. And so keeping that in mind, that does take the longest. It's, to me, the most nerve-wracking. I will correct a puppy for barking in their kennel. There's several ways to do that. And again, it's what you feel comfortable with. One is like the kennel earthquake. So it's like the kennel is saying, when you bark, I shake. So you can just shake it side to side and just do a low growl, quiet or no. For more submissive, tender puppies, that's all it takes. So you can just, or you can do that. But you can pound on the top, because you have to go above their intensity to get them to stop, or it has to be uncomfortable enough for them to stop. So if you're just like, no, stop barking, that's not a consequence. Like, to their mind too, maybe you're barking with them. So using the crate to kind of also give them the consequence can be highly effective. For dogs that have been barking in their kennel and bossing you around because you've allowed it, you may have to, if you're comfortable with, putting a bark collar on them when they go in their kennel. That will take care of that really quickly. It does give them a bump when they bark, and they learn, I can't bark in the kennel. And then hopefully the goal is you don't have to use that long term. It's just a tool to begin with. But the easiest thing to do is the first time your puppy barks in that kennel, no. You can shake it, and they're like, ooh, okay, well, that was uncomfortable. Right? You just want to give that correction fast enough, firm enough, and at the right time. Like, literally as they're doing their first bark, you have to be ready and correct that right away. Make it uncomfortable enough, because you're still setting up this lifelong foundation of, when you say no, you mean it. If they don't stop, there will be an unpleasant consequence, unpleasant enough that they will stop. right? All right. We've done all of that and still seems anxious. She barks until they are back together. Yeah, Shannon, you've got a little bit of a problem. I don't know. Can you just buy fencing and then she can be in the same room with everybody, but there's security and safety? Or you may find when she actually has her puppy, she really needs and wants that privacy. The problem with fencing, I'll tell you, and this has happened to us, if another dog walks by their fencing, they'll jump up to bark to protect, and they could step on and kill a puppy. So that's always a risk too. So if you just have some fencing in your front room and the other dogs are, walking all around, you've got to be ready and monitor if it's going to bother her. If they all live together and they have for a while, it probably won't. But again, after they deliver, their instincts and hormones are at a whole different level that it's never been. And so you just don't know. I've seen the most quiet dogs in a pack, never buck for promotion, never say boo to anybody, and those puppies come and they act like if another dog walks by their kennel, they are going to kill them. I mean, they are in mama bear mode. Give me some privacy, give me my respect, you better back off this fencing, right? And it's not a bad thing. It's dogs doing dogs to protect their puppies. Okay. All right, you guys, happy Friday. I'm Jeanette with 4E Kennels. We're not only healing hearts and changing lives through the power of a dog, but we are changing breeding from bad to badass, and I am mentoring and taking a lot of amazing breeders with me. It is the only way to truly disrupt the industry. The adopt, don't shop propaganda is not working. In fact, it's doing the opposite. Now we're only valuing dogs gained by the proxy of puppy mills and ill-intentioned backyard breeders because they don't take back their puppies if they have to be surrendered, right? They don't take them back. The first thing you should always ask before you buy is, can I return at any time, whether 1 week or 10 years later? Not that you will, but you see how important this question is, because you need to know that a breeder stands behind their dogs for the long term, that a breeder is in this for the right reasons, and it is the love of their dog and their lines and how much they respect their clients. So that's the first question you should ask. And then hopefully you've been following me enough to know all the other important things: puppy curriculum, health testing, puppy evaluations, giving puppies a voice in their placement. If you want that special magical match, you've got to find or wait for that puppy that meets your needs as well as you meeting their needs. And when that happens, that becomes that one in a lifetime dog. It's not that there was anything other special with the puppy, or it was a much better puppy or pick of the litter puppy. It was the match that made sense. You got what you needed to fulfill your heart and make you happy, and they got the same thing from you. And when you're both fulfilled and have a purpose and feel safe and respected by one another, that's when we truly enter this whole nother level of this innate bond that is really indescribable and beautiful. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend.